Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Sachin Pulil and I'm your digital admissions coach. So today I have here with me Emily Stubing. So she's a master's in entrepreneurship program. She's currently studying at the University of Cambridge, but because of COVID, everything is online. So I figured she was one of my GRE students. So when I used to do GRE coaching, she was like one of my first students to join, and she was definitely the first person to give me like an awesome testimonial. And I heard that, she did get into Cambridge, and that's like a dream school for a lot of you guys. So I figured I'd invite her to the channel, ask her about her profile, her journey, and any tips she may have for you guys. Okay, so Emily, why don't you just quickly tell us about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Hi. So again, I'm Emily Stubing, and I'm from both the US, from the Chicago area, and Germany. Grew up in both countries. And I'm getting my master's in entrepreneurship, like you said, at the University of Cambridge at Judge Business School.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So what was your profile like at, as you were applying to Cambridge? Because, Cambridge is like a dream school for many people. And I just want my students to know, okay, like what kind of profiles to actually, get into Cambridge?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my profile was honestly all over the place. And I never thought that I would get into Cambridge. I never even considered a school like that before. But I thought that I would apply, and like I said, it was all over the place. I started for the first 3.5 years of college majoring in biochem, and then switched to Spanish my last semester. So that's what I got my degree in. And I also got a certificate in writing and was on the pre-medical track. And that was all at the University of Iowa, where I got a 3.4 GPA out of a 4.0 scale. In terms of like GRE scores, I got a 160 in quant, 162 verbal, and 4.5 in the writing section. And with everything else, I did tons of things. I was super involved in undergrad. So that ranged from doing neuroscience research all 4 years, and I was the co-author of a publication in Nature, and I was the president of my university Special Olympics Club and volunteered for that all throughout college. I also got 3 publications in Spanish, doing like poetry and short stories in a Spanish literary magazine. And I did 2 internships. One was a medical internship in Germany, and the other was doing molecular biology research in Switzerland, and taught like all foreign languages I know throughout college. And then leading up to that point, I had 2 years of job experience, mostly in translation and interpretation.
Okay, so you weren't kidding when you said you were involved in college, because that's a huge list. So what was it like? What sort of persuaded you to apply for this program? Why did you choose Cambridge? What was the process like?
It was all pretty rushed, to be honest. It wasn't something that I'd necessarily planned on. But when the pandemic hit, I just wanted to find a way forward. And that's because up until that point, I had been working on this business idea really for the past 1.5 or 2 years, where I designed swimwear, and I kind of like informally sold it on the side. And I saw a way forward until the pandemic hit and realized I know absolutely nothing about business, and maybe I should learn a thing or 2 about it. So it seemed like the perfect time to go to school. And I'm really glad that I applied. And the whole reason I found it was because I found this program at Cambridge in entrepreneurship, and it sounded perfect for me. But I didn't think that I would get in. So once I realized that entrepreneurship programs existed, I was like, okay, there must be other ones out there too. So I selected 3 other schools to apply to, 4 other programs. So I ended up also applying to Imperial College and University College London, neither of which I was accepted to. And I applied to 2 programs at the University of Southern California, one in entrepreneurship and innovation, and the other was in social entrepreneurship, both of which I was accepted to. And of course, I was accepted to Cambridge as well. But a challenge along the way was that I had to take the GRE in a super short period of time. I had actually selected programs that I didn't think I'd have to take it for, but I didn't meet the GPA requirement for Cambridge. It was a 3.5. So all of a sudden I had like 2.5 weeks to prepare for the GRE, and that's when I found your class and just like studied for it day and night for 2.5 weeks. And it was more than enough to get into the program. So yeah, that was the main thing. And I think highlights along the way were just like the first time that I got accepted to a program, which was at USC. It was just like, this is crazy. Okay, all of a sudden this is way too real, but it's also really exciting. And the process at Cambridge takes forever. They have so many like systems to go through because it's such an old university with old systems in place. But when I finally heard it, that was obviously the biggest highlight of the process.
Awesome. So now I understand that you've been studying in Cambridge for a while. I guess like semester has just like closed, right? You just finished fall semester. So what's it been like? Like, what is Cambridge like? What is online studying like?
It's been kind of a whirlwind, but I do think that they're making the best of the situation overall. I was able to go out at the beginning of the program. We had what we call a residential, which is where everyone gets together, and we do some like seminars and workshops and stuff. And that was a mix between online and in person for whomever could come. And that was incredible. It was my first time going to Cambridge, and it's obviously a gorgeous campus and just like town to be in. So that was amazing. And it kind of put all of my worries to rest about putting all this money into education. Obviously you have second doubts and wonder if it's the right thing. But I absolutely knew that it was once I got there. And I was worried that everybody there would be stuck up and that I wouldn't fit in, and that honestly, I had such imposter syndrome going on. I thought I would get there and they'd realize that I was not smart enough to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but none of that was true. Everyone was super welcoming and down to earth, and I finally have my people. So I really love that about it. And in terms of classes, they release content, at least for my program, in like 2 weeks, like a unit at a time. So it's pretty hard to get behind, actually, as long as you just like do it in those little chunks.
Okay, awesome. So that sort of makes managing everything easier, I guess, right?
Yeah, so much easier. I'm not very good. Like if you give me the whole course at once, I'm just lost, you know? So it worked out really well for me.
Awesome. And so just because, you know, a lot of students are concerned about the online study, do you feel like there's any difference between like, you know, studying online and studying offline? And like, you know, what exactly are the differences? What are some advantages to studying online, or what are some things you're missing out because you're studying online?
I mean, obviously the biggest difference is the human interaction. And I mean, that's a huge reason why I joined the program in the first place, was to meet other people with similar goals and get that time with them. Although I also knew coming in during a pandemic that that might not be an option. So that is definitely one downside to it being online. An upside is that it works around my schedule. I can do all of my other things still. Like it's just, it's self-paced. It is what it is. So if you're good with that kind of a thing, then it might work for you. And yeah, those are really the biggest differences. Overall, it's not too bad. I think it's manageable.
Okay, awesome, fantastic. So like I said, you know, Cambridge is like a dream school for a lot of people. So do you have any like tips that, you know, people should follow when they apply to these colleges? What do you think?
Yeah, so I guess my biggest one is just to focus on, instead of focusing on the school and how amazing it is, I would focus on why you're the right fit for that program specifically. At the end of the day, they just want to know that you're going to succeed there. They want to know that you're going to take what they teach you and do something with it. So if you can explain that really well, that's always to your advantage. And I know it surprised me whenever I went to, you know, like information sessions for schools like Cambridge, and they said there were always people every year who would say, I want to go to Cambridge because it's number whatever in the world and I can do great networking and whatever. Obviously, I know I shouldn't have to say it, but some people do it. So thought I would just mention that. More so focus on you and that specific program. Yeah, and just in general, be patient with it. Like I said, at Cambridge, the process took a long time, at least compared to other schools in the US. I don't know how it is elsewhere. So make sure to just like give yourself a pat on the back along the way, because it is a long process. So there are lots of big things to accomplish along the way, and you can't do it in a day. So make sure to like take note of everything you've accomplished. It's not easy, but you'll get through it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those inspiring words, I guess. So now I just have like some questions from the audience. Let's go check that out. So first question is, do people require work experience for the course, Masters in Entrepreneurship? And if so, like how much is needed?
So from what I understood, I guess it's been a while since I've actually looked at the program and their requirements, but I'm pretty sure they don't require at least like full-time work experience, because I know that there are some people who came into the program right from undergrad. So I don't think it's required. It's definitely to your benefit, especially if it has to do with the business that you want to start for this program. And I guess that's probably true for any program. If you have some type of like relevant job or internship, that's obviously always a plus.
Right. So awesome. And then next question is, how is it different or related to other business masters, like, MBAs, MIMs and those kind of things?
I would compare it to an MBA that's focused in entrepreneurship, because at least like right now, we're taking a lot of the same courses that you would in an MBA. We're taking, like, the first semester was systems and marketing and strategy and organization. And next semester we're taking finance and something else that I don't remember. Yeah, I'll figure that out. But yeah, so it is all of the same courses pretty much, but they're from like through the lens of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very like entrepreneurship focused, like for people who are entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurship related finance rather than, corporate finance, I guess, right?
Yeah, it'll still teach you all the basics, I would say. But then like when we're looking at examples or doing a case study or something, it'll be an entrepreneurship related type of thing.
Okay, awesome. And the last question is, what about scholarships and assistantships and all that? So do you know that for your specific program and for Cambridge in general?
I don't know for Cambridge in general, I will say, and I didn't find any for my specific program, because that is something that I looked into, and maybe I just didn't look hard enough, but I don't remember finding anything.
Do you mean like for scholarships or assistantships?
Oh, I mean for assistantships. Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry, I shouldn't have made that clear. For assistantships, I didn't find anything. Scholarships, there are opportunities. Again, I don't know a ton about it because I applied so late. Like I said, this was a really last minute thing. And so by the time I got to them, they were pretty much all gone. So I think apply as soon as you can. It sounds like it's a first come, first serve type of thing to me. But I know they're there.
Okay. All right. And those are all the questions. And I guess on a final note, Emily, like, what do you plan to do with your degree? What does your career look like after you graduate?
Yeah, so I'm planning in the next year, actually, while I'm still in the program, to launch my business selling sustainable and ethical made-to-order swimwear. And the goal is to pretty much prove that business idea, and then pass the reins off to someone else once I've scaled it a bit and feel like I'm ready and all the systems are in place, it's all running smoothly, I can hand it off to someone else. And then at that point, I would like to help other businesses become more ethical and sustainable as well, and maybe start another business or a nonprofit that helps people with intellectual disabilities in developing countries. So
Right.
a long list of things.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
thanks.
And I guess that's everything. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, Emily. And I wish you all the best in your career. So Emily has kindly agreed to share her email address. So if you guys are interested in the Masters of Entrepreneurship program or things in Cambridge, of course, I'm going to leave her email address in the description below. I will also leave a link to her, swimwear venture. So if you guys want to check that out, if you want to go buy a bunch of swimwear, feel free to do that. And that's pretty much it. Emily, thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank
I'll
you
see you
for
guys
having
later.
me.
Bye.